You think it's just about the curves, don't you? The way she walks, the way heads turn, the way eyes follow her like gravity. But what you don't see is the weight she carries, not just on her body, but on her spirit. Because being a woman with a big ass isn't just about attention, it's about assumptions, stereotypes, judgments, and strength. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about something most people notice but very few truly understand. The woman with the big, bold, captivating curves. There's a mystery here. A magnetic presence that draws attention, sparks conversation, and yes, even stirs up stereotypes. But behind those curves is a woman, complex, powerful, and deeply misunderstood. Today we're diving into 8 truths about women with big asses that most guys still don't get. And trust me, it's not just about the shape. It's about the story, the psychology, the presence. She knows the room changes when she walks in. It's not arrogance, it's awareness. There's a shift, a stir in the air, like an invisible energy that follows her movement. Eyes drift, conversations pause, and even those trying not to notice, notice. It's a reality she's grown used to, not always comfortably, but knowingly. Having a body that commands attention isn't a choice. It's something she's had to learn how to live with. From the hallways of high school to the boardrooms of adulthood, her silhouette speaks before her voice does. It's a language others interpret in their own way. Some with admiration, some with desire, and some with judgment. But regardless of how they see her, she knows she's being seen. The attention is constant. Sometimes flattering, often tiring, because it's not the same kind of attention everyone gets. It's louder, more loaded, filled with assumptions. People assume she wants it. They think her walk is meant to seduce. They think the sway of her hips is rehearsed, exaggerated, a performance for the male gaze. But they're wrong. She walks the way she walks because that's her body's natural rhythm. She's not acting, she's existing. And yet, her existence is interpreted through a sexual lens that she didn't ask for. She's had to become conscious of how she sits, how she stands, how she hugs people. She's been made to feel like her presence is a distraction, whether it's co-workers staring too long or women whispering behind her back. She's learned that occupying space can be both a privilege and a punishment. She's had to battle with the internalized belief that maybe she should shrink, maybe she should hide, maybe she should try to tone it down, just to make others feel more at ease. But deep down, she knows the problem isn't her body. It's the way people perceive it. There are moments when she loves it, when she looks in the mirror and sees strength, power, beauty. But those moments had to be built over time. They didn't come from compliments or likes on social media. They came from understanding herself beyond her shape, from realizing she has more to offer than just the outer packaging. Still, the external world rarely lets her forget what stands out. Even in professional settings, she notices how eyes linger a second too long, how respect is sometimes filtered through desire, how being curvy can make people underestimate your mind. When she walks into a room, she's aware of the eyes, the double takes, the whispers. She's aware of the fantasies she's become a part of without permission. And while some women might envy her or think she has it easy, she knows the truth is far more layered. She didn't choose this body. It's hers by nature, by genetics, by grace. And she's had to develop an armor to navigate a world that reduces her to it. The confidence you see, that's earned. The calm expression, that's practiced. Because sometimes, behind that steady gaze is a woman who's tired of being looked at and never truly seen. Everywhere she goes, she feels it, the weight of being noticeable, the strange silence that follows her entrance, the shift in energy that trails her path. She knows it's not just about beauty, it's about perception, and perception is a powerful thing. She's mastered the art of keeping her head high, of walking with purpose even when the stairs feel heavy. She's mastered the ability to pretend she doesn't see the looks, even when they burn into her skin. Because in that moment, she's not just a woman with a big ass. She's a symbol of something people project their own ideas onto. She's judged before she even speaks. From the moment she enters a space, assumptions are formed. People look at her body and build a whole narrative around her without knowing a single detail about her character, values, or mind. To some, she's too loud without saying a word. To others, she must be looking for attention, playing into the stereotypes built over generations. Her curves speak louder than her actual voice, and that's a battle she never asked to fight. When she does speak, sometimes people don't even hear her words. They're too distracted by their own thoughts about her body. The assumptions people make are instant, unfair, and often painfully shallow. And she knows this. She knows what it's like to walk into a job interview and feel the tension in the room shift. Not because of her resume, not because of her talent, but because someone can't separate her physical presence from their preconceived notions. She knows what it's like to be laughed at behind her back, accused of using her body to get ahead, or disrespected just because of how she looks in a dress she bought for herself. Her intelligence is overlooked, her talents are questioned. People assume she must be using her body as a tool, when in fact she's spent years sharpening her mind to be taken seriously despite her body. When she's quiet, people assume she's stuck up. When she's friendly, they say she's flirting. When she's confident, they think she's full of herself. When she's vulnerable, they say she's being dramatic. She can't win. No matter how she presents herself, her body leads the conversation before she even gets the chance. And yet, she shows up. Day after day, she keeps showing up with grace, with strength, with an inner resilience most people wouldn't understand unless they lived it. There's a double standard that follows her everywhere. The same outfit worn by another woman is called stylish, but on her, it's inappropriate. Her shape is viewed through a sexual filter, even when she's doing something as simple as grocery shopping or sitting at a cafe. She can't control how the world responds, but she's spent a long time learning how not to let it define her. Because if she believed every label she's been given, easy, provocative, shallow, she would have crumbled long ago, but she didn't. She stood up, she rebuilt her confidence not on how others see her, but on how she sees herself. And even though the judgments still come, she's learned how to carry herself with unshakable self-awareness. She's learned how to separate her identity from the projections of others. She doesn't allow someone's opinion to become her truth. And still, it doesn't mean it's easy. It takes emotional energy to constantly prove you're more than what people expect. It takes inner strength to speak clearly when someone's already decided you have nothing worth saying. It takes courage to walk into spaces that weren't built for your presence, knowing that every step is an act of quiet rebellion. People often underestimate how exhausting it is to be misunderstood before you even speak. The pressure to prove yourself over and over again, the pressure to balance your presence so you're not too much, the pressure to justify your clothing, your posture, even your smile. It's not just about being thick. It's about being seen as a symbol instead of a person. A symbol people project their insecurities, fantasies, or judgments onto. She's been navigating this invisible weight for years, and while she may smile and carry it with grace, she carries it all the same. Her fashion choices are not for you. That's the truth most people struggle to understand. When she steps out in a fitted dress or high-waisted jeans, it's not an invitation, it's not a performance. It's not a plea for validation. It's an expression of mood, of personality, of comfort, and yes, of confidence. But that confidence wasn't built from being looked at. It was built from learning how to stand tall despite the looks. from having to defend her right to wear what she loves without being reduced to a stereotype. People forget that clothing is deeply personal. For her, it's a reflection of her mood, her story, her identity, not a billboard begging for male attention. She's been criticized for outfits that another woman could wear without a second glance. What fits others loosely clings to her body like it was made for it, and that changes everything. A simple tank top becomes too revealing, a pair of leggings becomes inappropriate, a swimsuit becomes provocative. But what no one considers is how deeply frustrating it is to constantly feel like you're being policed for your shape, not your choices. She could be in sweatpants and still hear comments, still see the stares. Her body speaks louder than her outfit ever could. People think they have a right to weigh in on what she wears. Strangers feel entitled to give advice, to offer warnings, to make crude jokes, as if she exists in a world built for their comfort and commentary. But what they don't see is the thought that goes into her every outfit, how she second-guesses herself before stepping outside, how she sometimes layers up, not because she wants to, but because she's tired. Tired of the catcalls, tired of the assumptions, tired of the blame. Because when she's harassed or disrespected, the first question is never about the person who crossed the line. It's about what she was wearing. She's had to develop a thick skin, not because she's fearless, but because she's been forced to armor up in a world that wants her to shrink. But the beauty of her journey is that she hasn't shrunk. She's taken her fashion and made it hers. She's turned judgment into self-expression. She wears bright colors when she feels powerful. She wears heels when she wants to own her walk. She wears what makes her feel like herself, not someone else's fantasy. And that's a kind of rebellion most people overlook. It's not about being sexy. It's not about showing off. It's about refusing to be hidden, about standing in her full form and saying, "This is me." Her clothes are an extension of her voice, a silent declaration that she will not let shame define her, that she will not filter herself to make others feel safer. She's learned that no matter what she wears, someone will have an opinion, so she might as well wear what makes her feel alive, what makes her feel beautiful, what makes her feel like the woman she's becoming. The truth is, her fashion isn't about you. It never was. It's about walking into a room and feeling like her outfit matches her energy. It's about looking in the mirror and recognizing her strength. It's about reclaiming a body that's been objectified, fetishized, and misunderstood. Her style is not an invitation to stare, to judge, or to touch. It's a reflection of everything she's learned, everything she's overcome, and everything she's decided she's worth. When she gets dressed, she's not dressing for male approval. She's dressing for her own evolution. And in doing so, she's rewriting the rules that were never made with her in mind. She's not always confident about her body. That's the side most people never see. They assume that because she has curves, because she walks with presence, because she turns heads, she must feel good about herself all the time. But confidence doesn't come automatically with shape. In fact, for many women like her, confidence was a long, painful journey paved with criticism, shame, and comparison. Growing up, she was told she was too much, too big, too loud, too different. Other girls were praised for being thin and delicate, while she was told to cover up, to hide, to blend in. And so, before she could even understand what her body meant to others, she was already being taught to be ashamed of it. She remembers the first time someone made a comment that stuck with her. Maybe it was in school, maybe it was on the street. Someone pointed, laughed, or whispered. And from that moment, she began to view herself through a lens that wasn't her own. She began to believe that her body was a problem to solve. She tried hiding in oversized clothes. She tried standing in the back of group photos. She tried being small in every way except physically. But no matter how much she tried to disappear, her body was still there, seen, judged, discussed. And over time, she started to internalize the idea that her body defined her worth, that if she didn't fit a certain mold, she wouldn't be accepted. Even compliments became confusing. Was she being appreciated or objectified? Was she being seen or just looked at? Every kind word was tangled with suspicion. Every stare carried a weight, because with every compliment came an expectation to perform, to please, to be that kind of woman. And when she didn't live up to the fantasy others had built in their minds, she felt like she was somehow failing. Behind the photos, behind the confident poses, behind the outfits that others assume are bold, there are quiet moments of doubt. She's stood in front of mirrors, picking herself apart. She's questioned if her shape makes people take her less seriously. She's felt the sting of comparison, especially in a world where beauty is still often equated with thinness. The media tells her to be proud of her body, but society still punishes her for showing it. It's a constant contradiction. Be confident, but not too confident. Be sexy, but not threatening. Be proud, but not loud about it. And yet, despite all of it, she's learning to separate her worth from the noise, learning to embrace her shape not for what it does for others, but for how it makes her feel in her own skin. She's unlearning shame and replacing it with grace. She's realizing that confidence isn't loud, it's quiet, steady, and often forged in solitude. It's not about always loving every part of herself. It's about showing up anyway, about wearing what she wants even when she's nervous, about speaking up even when she feels invisible, about choosing to believe she's enough even when the world says otherwise. Her confidence didn't come from being praised. It came from the decision to stop asking for permission. It came from healing, from standing in her truth, from understanding that the very things she was once told to hide are now the things that give her power. Every day she walks out the door, she's doing something brave, living in a body that others try to control, in a world that constantly tells her what she should be, but she's learning to define herself on her own terms. And that kind of confidence, the kind that's fought for, the kind that grows in silence and pain, is the most unshakable kind of all. So the next time you see a woman with a body that makes the world pause, remember, she's not here to fit into your assumptions, your fantasies, or your judgments. She's here to take up space, to own her story, and to live boldly in a world that often tells her to shrink. Her curves are not just physical. They are symbolic of everything she's carried, survived, and risen above. Respect her presence, honor her complexity, and understand that her confidence was never about being seen. It was about finally seeing herself.